The amazing works of art and architecture of the ancient structures around the world serve as a testament to the ingenuity, imagination and sheer hard work of which human beings are capable. These man-made structures were all built without today's modernized machines. This shows how hard-working those people were. So without further ado, let's see the top 15 ancient wonders of the world. But before we jump into number 1, be sure that you have subscribed and hit the bell icon to keep yourself informed with amazing videos. With that said, let's jump into our incredible list. Kinterakata Warriors, Xi'an, China. In 1974, workers digging a well outside Xi'an in China were surprised to come upon one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in the world. A life-size clay soldier positioned for battle. But it was even better than that. Archaeologists found not just one but thousands of clay soldiers, each with unique facial expressions and positioned according to rank. Some had horses, others were behind chariots. The statues were part of an elaborate mausoleum created to accompany the first emperor of China into the afterlife. Church of St. George, also known as Beta Georgis, is a church carved out of the ground, out of volcanic rock. It was shaped from the inside out and is connected to other sunken stone churches in Ethiopia through a series of elaborated tunnels. The church is cut 40 feet down, and its roof forms the shape of a Greek cross. It has been dated to the late 12th AD and thought to have been constructed during the reign of King Geber Meskel Lalibela of the late Zagwe dynasty. Great Wall of China. Built in the early 7th century BC, the Great Wall of China is the largest man-made project in the world. This series of ancient fortifications built in northern China is an integrated defense system, including not only lofty and solid walls, but also massive signal towers, barriers, barracks, garrison stations, and fortresses along the walls, together forming an insurmountable line. Built for thousands of years to protect the territories of ancient Chinese states against the nomadic tribes from the northern steppe. This long wall winds up and down across deserts, grasslands, mountains and plateaus, stretching approximately 21,196 kilometers from west to east of China. Taj Mahal. An immense mausoleum of white marble, built in Agra between 1631 and 1648 by order of the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his favorite wife. The Taj Mahal is the jewel of Muslim art in India and one of the universally admired masterpieces of the world's heritage. The construction of the cenotaph took more than 20 years to finish, with thousands of elephants, artisans and craftsmen were hired to complete the work. The delicate exterior and interior motifs and carvings were all done by hand. To understand what all the fuss is about, think about the fact the monument was built in an age that there were no computers, standardized construction techniques and machines. Petra, Jordan. The area around Petra has been inhabited since prehistoric times from as early as 7000 BC. Petra was the ancient capital of the Nabatean kingdom. Later this turned into an important junction for the silk and spice routes that linked China, India and southern Arabia with Egypt, Greece and Rome. Petra is half built, half carved into the rock and is surrounded by mountains riddled with passages and gorges. Machu Picchu. Most archaeologists believe that Machu Picchu was constructed as an estate for the Inca Emperor Pachacuti in 1438. Often mistakenly referred to as the lost city of the Incas, it is the most familiar icon of Inca civilization. The Incas built the estate around 1450 but abandoned it a century later at the time of the Spanish conquest. Although known locally, it was not known to the Spanish during the colonial period and remained unknown to the outside world until American historian Hiram Bingham brought it to international attention in 1911. Machu Picchu was built in the classical Inca style, with polished dry stone walls. Its three primary structures are the Intihuatana, the Temple of the Sun, and the Room of the Three Windows. Most of the outlying buildings have been reconstructed in order to give tourists a better idea of how they originally appeared. It is located in the eastern cordillera of southern Peru, on a 2,430-meter mountain ridge. Colosseum. One of the most famous Roman architecture is this building, which was completed in 80 AD by Titus. Due to its grand architecture, it has become an icon of imperial Rome. It allowed more than 50,000 people to enjoy its finest spectacles. The exhibitions of exotic animals, executions of prisoners, recreations of battles and gladiator fights kept the Roman people entertained for years. Since the 6th century, the Colosseum has suffered lootings, earthquakes and even bombings during World War II. Demonstrating a great survival instinct, the Colosseum has been used for decades as a storehouse, church, cemetery and even a castle for nobility. Parthenon, Acropolis. This is a former temple on the Athenian Acropolis, Greece, dedicated to the goddess Athena, whom the people of Athens considered their patron. Construction began in 447 BC when the Athenian Empire was at the peak of its power. It was completed in 438 BC, although decoration of the building continued until 432 BC. It is the most important surviving building of classical Greece, generally considered the zenith of the Doric order. Its decorative sculptures are considered some of the high points of Greek art. The Parthenon is regarded as an enduring symbol of ancient Greece and Western civilization, and one of the world's greatest cultural monuments. To the Athenians who built it, the Parthenon and other Periclean monuments of the Acropolis were seen fundamentally as a celebration of Hellenic victory over the Persian invaders and as a thanksgiving to the gods for that victory. This massive temple was built from ivory, gold and silver. Teotihuacan. In the 2nd century BC, a new civilization arose in the Valley of Mexico. This civilization built the flourishing metropolis of Teotihuacan and its huge step pyramids. The Pyramid of the Sun was built around 100 AD and is 75 meters high, making it the largest building in Teotihuacan and one of the largest in Mesoamerica. 7 centuries after the demise of the Teotihuacan Empire, the pyramids were honored and utilized by the Aztecs and became a place of pilgrimage. Hagia Sophia. Also known as Hagia Sophia, this impressive structure from the 6th century was built as a grand Greek Orthodox church in the Byzantine period and has stood through multiple regime changes and religions. For centuries it stood as a converted mosque and still has the minarets, though the now museum interior has a timeline mix of Arabic writing and Christian mosaics. In 1935 the secular Turkish Republic established it as a museum. In 2020, it reopened as a mosque. The Great Pyramids. Egypt is blessed with lots of great sites stretching from Alexandria down to Abu Simbel, but the main attractions that have been famous for thousands of years are the Great Pyramids of Giza. Kissed by the slummy-looking sprawl of Cairo on one side, the Great Pyramid was the tallest man-made structure in the world for more than 3,800 years until Lincoln Cathedral was finished in 1311 AD. It is estimated that the pyramid weighs approximately 6 million tons and consists of 2.3 million blocks of limestone and granite, some weighing as much as 80 tons. Originally, the Great Pyramid was covered by limestone casing stones that formed a smooth outer surface. What is seen today is the underlying core structure. Some of the casing stones that once covered the structure can still be seen around the base. Sigiriya. Rising out of the jungle, standing some 180 meters high, is the vertical peak of Sigiriya. This dramatic rock contains the ruins of an ancient 5th century civilization, thought to be once the thriving center of the short-lived Cassapa kingdom. The granite rock, which lies at the heart of the city's ruins, is home to beautiful frescoes, stairs carved into the stone, and the remains of a royal palace. No wonder this astounding site is one of Sri Lanka's biggest tourist attractions. Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat is a complex temple in Cambodia and the largest religious monument in the world, measuring 162.6 hectares. Originally constructed as a Hindu temple dedicated to the god Vishnu for the Khmer Empire, it was gradually transformed into a Buddhist temple towards the end of the 12th century. As such, it is also described as a Hindu-Buddhist temple. It was built by the Khmer king Suryavarman II in the early 12th century in Adharapura, the capital of the Khmer Empire by then. The temple is at the top of the high classical style of Khmer architecture and combines two basic plans of Khmer temple architecture: the Temple Mountain and the later galleried temple. The temple is admired for the grandeur and harmony of the architecture, its extensive bas-reliefs, and for the numerous devatas adorning its walls. It has become a symbol of Cambodia, appearing on its national flag, and it is the country's prime attraction for visitors. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and to watch more videos by tapping the videos above.